Hi, it's Marlon. So first of all, Ramadan Kareem to all my Muslim friends, and I'm currently at my home, working from home. And for today's lesson, I'll be showing you, or maybe discussing you openings, which is mainly focusing on the center. Now, the first one is center game. Second one is the King's Gambit. Let's do this. The center game start with e4 and black play e5. So a lot of players, includes me, I'll be playing knight on f3, and then black will just play knight on 6 or even some different opening. But on this lesson today, we're going to be doing 4. So d4 is not a gambit, of course, it's being protected, but white is being straightforward to his tension, and it's to remove the pawn on e5. Um, of course, there's two variation here. I mean, black has the option of capturing and not capturing. So for example, if he refuses to capture, he could play maybe knight on c6, but knight on c6, and then there's a push on e5 after knight on e7, and white could put more again pressure on the e5, I mean pressure on e5, and then black has e6, f6, and then knight on g6, which d6 may be the best reply here, but after c4, and white would be very happy with the center, with some ideas of bishop e3, knight c, and then some c5. So what about if knight g6 is played? Hmm, knight g6 is fine, but the problem is how many times had you moved your knight? So here, white could just play the h4, knight trying to remove the defender of the e5. And for example, here, e6 is played, then you could just 5. So black, I think, could play h5. And after bishop on g5, attacking the queen, and maybe bishop on e7, and then I don't know. There's a d6 right now. Maybe not like this. Maybe not bishop e7, but maybe knight on f6. And as you can see, white is very happy that okay, he could just develop all of these pieces. I mean, knight on f3 is fine. Then bishop on e2 is fine, and or even bishop on c4 is fine. So white controls center first, having two pawns on it, and further development of the pieces are coming. So let's go back. So what about if he played d6? Again, we could capture here on e5 if pawn takes, and then queen takes, queen, change queen, and then after bishop on c4, attacking f7, and I don't know, maybe we just play f6, and after knight on e2, with some ideas, sorry, knight on e2 with some ideas of breaking on f4 with castling, and then if pawn takes, then bishop takes. White will be very happy with his development. So let's try what if he takes. Go back. What if black takes here? Then of course queen captures. But I just want to show you there's a other variation here. Step from capturing on d4 immediately. There is what we call the f4, the Hallis Gambit, and we also have knight on f3, like postponing the capture. And from here, black could play bishop on c5, which is the strongest reply for this. And okay, knight takes d4 is still in the takes state. Still fell into the same position we want. And there's also this kind of very interesting opening, which is the Danish Gambit. Sorry, Danish Gambit. And this will be covered in my next video on lesson 21 or 22. So this is gonna be interesting. Like take, and then instead of the capturing, you're just gonna play bishop on c4, and then you play takes. And this is much more exciting if you're white. So let's go now back again here. So again, we play d4 and then take, and now we captures with now we captures with queen. So after queen captures, black could just play knight on c6, and there's two options here. You could just go queen a4 like a reverse Scandinavian. I will try to cover it my next lesson. And we also have the common reply, which is the queen on e3. So queen on e3 is very straightforward, like we just want to develop our bishop, our knight here, and then bishop on d2, and then long castle, or perhaps short castling. So here, for example, a black could just play knight on f6, and after knight on f6, the best reply here is bishop on d2, and bishop on d2 is just simply playing knight on playing knight c3 next, and then long castle, and then bishop on d3, knight goes on e, and you break on f4. That depends upon black's reply. I just want to show you this. What about if you don't play bishop on d2? For example, here, queen takes, knight c6, queen e3, knight on f6, and then knight on c3. Black could play this bishop on b4, and it's spinning. Now the problem here is black could castle, play rook e8, and then break on d5 next. So, for example, you play bishop on d2, that castle, and then you did long castle. After rook on e8, and now it's kind of how to say this? It's kind of uh tricky position for white because your pawn on e4 is hanging, and black pieces are aiming for it. So what should we do? There's some suggestion in h4, queen f4 should be played, and I guess it's Shabalov who suggested more interesting. So here, we'll try to cover this variation, or perhaps you could just try to play it and see yourself. But for me, I'm just gonna play here a queen f4. So if it takes, and then there's a rook takes on e4, and I'm just gonna play with some ideas of capturing this. How to say this? So I think queen g3 is the best reply because okay, maybe you're gonna hope for queen f3, but queen f3 killing this knight square for f. So try to enjoy the game and this kind of opening. So now let's go with the next game, which is the King's Gambit. So King's Gambit is one of the oldest opening for about 400 years already. Same as old as the Rui Lopez maybe for the Italian game. So white started with e4, black played with e5, and then again, we want to get rid of this e5 pawn. So normally we play knight on f3 as I said before, or even we could just go directly to the center game. Like, come on, capture me. But here we're gonna try the other flank, which is f4, the King's Gambit. So in a lot of books, they say that King's Gambit is busted, it's unsound, it's waste a move for white, and that nobody in the top level is playing it. For club players like me, I really suggest for us to play King's Gambit as it's the romantic era of chess. I mean, it's not about positioning, development, it's sometimes about excitement. And here, for example, again, after f4, there's always two options for black capture, or accept, or decline. I mean, sorry, there's accept and decline. So let's go first with decline. Okay, I have the book here as my cheat codes. I don't memorize all the variations. So there is a variation of f5, which is called Panteldaki's counter gambit. So okay, it's interesting. And there's also the common reply d5, which is the folk beer. I know this. I played this with Fan Black. And there's also one. Wait, yeah, d5, and then if he takes d5, then there's c6, which is the ninja switch. Very interesting and very exciting game for white and black. So I really suggest for you to play the d5 instead of f5. But what if for example, black played knight on c6, and then you could just go with the normal reply, knight on f3. Everything is fine for white and black. So now let's go with the capturing. What if black accepts? If you remember Adolf Anderson with the bishop gambit, he played bishop on c4 against Lionel, and the verse white accept the problem because from the start of the game here, when you played f4, you already accept the risk that you're gonna be exposing queen h4 check, and otherwise you're gonna play g3 and then ruin your pawn structure because maybe there's a bishop on g2 and knight on f3. But for example, if it takes, uh, Grandmaster Ben Feingold even mentioned never play f pawn. But here, after bishop on c4, then as you can see, there's a queen on h4 check, and you cannot play g3 now because if you do, just gonna take it as you cannot capture back as your rook is being pinned. So that being said, you have to move your king on f1. It's not losing for white, but it's a very exciting game. I mean, try to see Adolf Anderson's game. So much fun to watch. It's the immortal game. So here we have bishop on c4 and queen h5 and then king f1. So what if after bishop on c4 he didn't make it? There's also some variation wherein black could just play knight on c6. And now white is very happy because he gets what he wants. He could play d4, he could capture an f4, he could play knight f3 and then castle. So this is the opening all about. Moving the pawn on e5, pushing your pawn on e4 and try to have two pawns on the center, develop your knight and castle. Very simple, right? But very difficult if you play on the board. Okay, here. What about now um, if you played, for example, knight f3, which is the main line here. So you're not allowing the queen to go on h4, and here the main reply for black is the g5. So g5 now is protecting the pawn in f4 and not allowing for some activity on, I mean, white's activity on the right flank. But there is like what we call the Paris. So it's an h4 and h4 now is like removing. I mean, trying to undermine this kind of pawn structure because later white will take d4 and recapture the pawn in f4. So that is white's objective. Black here could play the move on g4, and after the move on g4, there is of course a knight e5 or even knight g5. Uh, for me, knight e5 is more creative and more exciting because if you play knight on g5, there's an h6, and then after h6, you're gonna take an f7, king takes f7, and okay, there's a knight on c3, bishop on c4, but bishop on c4 is trailing as you can see, and then black now is forced to do some d5 move because, for example, if it goes back here, and then there's queen takes g4, and white is very happy in this position as bishop and queen and one pawn center is very much active playing. So here, um, okay, what about if he didn't play g4? So okay, he could play just d5, a counter play, or he could just play maybe f6, but f6 is gonna be quite problem because we can go here. It's so unclear, but maybe white moves better. So what about if he didn't play g5? He could just play a very simple move of e6, which is the Fischer variation. Uh, if you know the my six memorable games by Bobby Fischer, I think it's included. I read it somewhere. So this is where Bobby Fischer said that uh, shouldn't play King's Gambit because it's busted. I quote. I'm sorry. I'm not really sure if that's the exact word, but I think that is. And from here, you can just play d4, and okay, you still have your goal, two pawns in center, and you can capture back on f4. And if black played g5, and then you could just go with e3 or even h4. Sorry, okay, line g3 or h4 or even bishop on c4 is fine. So this is very very much exciting if you play it on the board or even on. So again, center game and King's Gambit. The goal is just to remove the e5 pawn, take d4, and attack the hanging pawn. If you want for more videos like this, you can just subscribe into our YouTube account. And you do guys have a great day. Bye.